open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house, play the music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go a while.
Scientists have discovered a new fault line along California's Salton Sea. A swarm of 200 small earthquakes recently hit the region, increasing the probability that the big one would hit Southern California. The San Andreas Fault has not experienced a magnitude 7 or greater quake in more than 100 years. Many believe it's long overdue, but this new discovery may explain why. RT's Brigida Santos live in Los Angeles with more on this one. Brigida, what's the name of this fault line and where exactly is it?
Simone, the name of this new fault line is the Salton Trough Fault Line, and it runs along the eastern edge of the Salton Sea parallel to the San Andreas Fault. Seismologists thought that they were already aware of all of the fault lines in Southern California because they study them so extensively. But because this one is underwater, they weren't able to detect it as easily. And because of that, they don't know very many details about it even now. They don't know how long it is, they don't know its exact location, and they don't know what amount of shaking it's capable of producing. Yes, we've had smaller earthquakes, nothing on the 6.7 or 7 scale, but according to research, quote, the San Andreas Fault, which is running through California, is the longest in the state. Its southern portion normally ruptures every 175 to 200 years, producing magnitude 7 earthquakes. Scientists are now puzzled why no major earthquake has hit the area in the last 300 years. Scientists now estimate that because we are so overdue, that Southern California, that southern tip of the San Andreas Fault, has a 19% chance of producing a 6.7 earthquake or higher within the next 30 years. The good news is that this newly discovered fault line, the Salton Trough, may be absorbing some of the strain from the San Andreas Fault, and that is very likely why we haven't had a larger earthquake. So this new discovery just leads seismologists to go back to the drawing board and see whether or not this is helping us to avoid a large earthquake.
RT correspondent Brigida Santos reporting for us from Los Angeles. Thank you.
Hey. Let's see you. Come on in, let's go. Yeah! Let's go! All right, okay. Return to the Mac. Get up what it is, what it does, what it is, what it isn't. Looking for a better way to get up out of bed instead of getting on the internet and checking a new hit. Me get up, first shot, come strut walking. A little bit of humble, a little bit of cautious. Somewhere between like Rocky and Cosby's for the game. Nope, y'all can't copy yet. Glad moonwalking, and this here is our party. My posse's been on Broadway. Let's go. And all my people say.
Land around the San Andreas Fault, it's rising and sinking. Now, new earthquake research is showing for the first time scientists, they were able to produce a computer image showing huge sections of this fault line rising and sinking, the area around it. Now, there's vertical movement that's seismic And the strain of this, that they're actually saying the strain of these vertical waves, if you will, they're ultimately going to release a very large earthquake. They don't know when, that's the kicker. It's like maybe sometime in the future. We have these images. The data is helping us predict that a quake will happen. They constantly say this. And sometime in the next 30 years, along this massive fault, you're able to actually see it. And I was looking for digital images of this earlier, but it goes up and down. It moves the ground around it. It's bizarre.
It's scary. Because
we're all going to die,
what it entails, right? But I mean, look, why does it take experts to tell you that, oh, in California, which is on the Pacific in that ring of fire, there is going to be an imminent, pretty big earthquake? Okay, thank you. We knew that. And there's always these stories about these mega quakes that might be coming anytime. We don't know. What does it do? It just scares the crap out of people. And then we go back to, going about our daily business.
What are your options?
What are your options? If they knew, if there was some way to know when an earthquake would come, we wouldn't see, the tragedies unfolding in Haiti, Japan, Nepal, recently in Ecuador, for example. They would have been able to know and they would have gotten outside, right? There's nothing you can do about it. That's what's scary. So people, a huge earthquake is coming, but there's nothing we can do about it. We don't know when. Could happen at any time.
There's a professor who's been studying this at Cal State. This is what she had to say about the fault and the motion. She says, along the San Andreas Fault, most of the motion is horizontal. The vertical are very small and very hard to measure. This is the first study that's been able to really measure it in a coherent way. So awesome. The sky is falling.
Yeah.
But at least we know it's coming now.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something that's like, this is a potential to happen. It is going to happen. We just don't know when. I think it's also easy for us in LA to kind of turn a blind eye to it. We're like, no big deal. But honestly, every time I drive by the Hollywood Hills, I'm always like, what is... Like, this is going to be insane, And certainly we have far more resources than Haiti or, some of these other countries that have experienced these massive catastrophes. But still, I mean, if you're on the road or, you don't want your car getting crushed by an overpass, which has happened in the past.
The weird thing is that these movements, they're subtle and they're slow, and they're measuring them over time. So just to take this back, this one geological survey, Robert Graves, who's been studying this fault line for some time, this is what he had to say: over the course of tens or hundreds of years, the amount of motion which is related to the amount of stress, that's the motion that's building up. That's what causes earthquakes. Well, that's really good to know. But honestly, maybe you could let us know maybe just a few weeks before, even a couple of days before.
It does make me wonder, like, if these kind of like seismic shifts, they have got to get more intense before, right? Or is it really, I guess I don't know enough about earthquakes to know like where it it just kind of comes out of nowhere if you have some kind of heads up.
Yeah, it hasn't been since 6th grade since we learned about fault lines and
what fault lines are.
Magma.
Tectonic plates.
Speaking of fault lines, the San Andreas, it's one of California's longest fault lines. It's considered to be one of the most dangerous in the country. And experts are saying there's an earthquake coming, but they just don't know when.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna